Okay, guys. Yeah, pretty interesting weekend for many of you, I'm sure. So, as I keep saying all this year, thank you for your dedication and commitment to fill all the games that we need to, and that's especially the case on the weekend. I was out there at 4:45 to umpire Blackfriars, a women's game, and copped the worst of it. And yeah, I love umpiring. I love footy, but can't say I was loving it right out there. Rob McKay, you're online? Do you want to just unmute yourself? Tell us about your 50th game at Flinders Park.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of doing Flinders Park starting at 6 p.m. after racing there from Westminster. Went through till about 8:30. It happened to be Ladies' Day, so there were about 500 people there celebrating the fact that it was Ladies' Day, paying very little attention to the game. Coldest I've ever been in my life, and I couldn't work the hot shower afterwards, so then proceeded to race home to try and get a hot shower, and the pilot light had blown out at home, so I couldn't even get a hot shower at home. So it was a great way to celebrate.
As I said to you this morning, mate, a memorable 50th for you. So, anyone else have a horror story from the weekend? I'm sure anyone that was out there after 5 o'clock. Yeah, it was pretty crazy conditions. But anyway, we all got a week off to recover this week. So just a note about training. Wednesday night, goal umpires are going to have the night off. So there'll be no goal umpire training. We will hold field and boundary umpire training. And I know many of you will want to have a run, and so we'll provide that opportunity for those this Wednesday night. We'll be back on deck obviously the following Wednesday. There will be no Zoom meeting next Monday night, being the public holiday. So this is the last Zoom for a couple of weeks. With a week off doing appointments, and I'll be pleased to not have to ring around and try and fill gaps for this week, just have a break from that and hassle you all for doing more games. I'm going to put my mind to getting together the written feedback for those that have been observed. So might be a slightly different format to what it's been done in previous years. Certainly there won't be any scores shown, but there will be some written feedback provided if you have been observed. If you haven't been observed, we won't be sending you anything. So next thing is, so quite a few of you are involved in the Aboriginal Power Cup recently. Port Adelaide also have a Power Intercultural Carnival. That's a bit of a mouthful. That's going to be held on Friday week, June the 17th at Carrick-Rolton Oval. We need 12 umpires for that day. $200 payment. The requirement is you're there from about 9:45 to 3 o'clock. If you want to be involved in that, just send me an email, and we'll organise the 12 umpires for that day. All right, they're all the items I need to tick off. We've got the coaching video to look at, which is going to be interesting to go through. They're all the red cards from not last weekend, but the weekend before. So this previous weekend, I think we only end up having 4 red cards in total, including any video instances. So we had a pretty good weekend this weekend. But the previous weekend, we had a crazy amount. I think it was 18 red cards. We ended up withdrawing 4 of them. So it was 14 suspensions given out. One of them is being contested at a tribunal this Wednesday, but all the rest are accepted. We're going to go have a look at the 11 that were caught on video, and we just talked through how the umpires dealt with it, how the league dealt with it. Obviously, there was a few dangerous tackles. There's some good learnings from those instances. So before we go to that coaching video, has anyone got anything to raise? Any questions, comments from the weekend we've just had? And by the way, Barry, when I say email, Barry Lewis, I don't want a text. Send me an email, mate, if you want to be involved in that that Power Intercultural Carnival. All right, so no one's got anything to raise from the weekend? Go. Normally, Andre, you've got something for me, or someone's got something for me.
Oh, I'll give you one.
Thanks, Rob.
We had a blue mooner where there was a ball up sort of 5 meters next to the boundary, and one of the rucks hit it out on the full. So we awarded it deliberate out of bounds, and that's a free kick in this league.
Very much so. It's a free kick in any league.
Well, true. Yeah.
So yeah, just to remind everyone about that, it's a free kick around the ground because we still have deliberate out of bounds. But if a ruckman hits the ball through the points or goals, then it's just all clear for a point. We don't award a free kick in that instance. By the way, something I need to add to the notes. I didn't have it in front of me, but I just reminded myself. Then someone mentioned something earlier today. If we do a yellow or red card, you must pay a free kick. Apparently, there was some yellow cards given out in recent times where no free kick was given. The only time you wouldn't pay a free kick is if you're handing out a yellow card to a player from either side. But obviously, if someone's been given a yellow card, they've done something wrong. We need to pay a free kick. And just a reminder, it doesn't mean an automatic 25. You're only paying 25 meters if you've paid a mark or free kick before that act. So if you paid a mark or free kick and then you're giving a yellow or red card for something that happens after that, then you pay 25. Otherwise, it's just a free kick on the spot. All right. Anyone else want to raise anything? All right. Let's go to the video tape. Just bear with me. Had a couple of comments that people were looking forward to this discussion. There's something about suspensions and red cards that gets people interested. It's always the thing that people go to for John Kernahan's update, I think. So yes, yellow and red cards are something that we have there to help control a game. We need to step up and take control at times. It's not something that is easy for new umpires necessarily. So just if you're with a experienced umpire, then they can help you in those situations. Just bear with me. Okay. All right. So there's a few dangerous tackles on this clip. So I'll send out the link. You can all have a look at these later on. Have we got Marek online? Marek?
Yeah, you got me, Carl.
Beautiful, mate. You want to talk us through this one while we play it?
Yep. Yeah, so the Brighton player here, it's a bit glitchy on my phone, watching it on my phone. But, yeah, I remember from the day he had him in a tackle standing up. I was actually just about to pay a ball up as I was running in, and then he's just dumped him on the ground. Head made contact with the ground. So I paid a yellow at the time, but about 2 minutes later, I was rethinking it and thought it should have been a red.
Yep. All right. So, yeah, so we have gone from giving a yellow out for all yellow cards to now in an instance where you clearly see that there's an injury or a potential for injury and the tackler was negligent in their duties, their duty of care for the safety of players, then you issue a red card. So look, it wasn't the end of the world that we gave a yellow and then upgraded it on video. But also it would be good in those instances, if you see something like that, you'd probably want a red card the way we're doing it now. So what happened in the end there, the match review panel was offered that player 2 games plus 1 suspended, and the club accepted that one. All right, so moving on to the next one. Is Stefan online?
Yep, I'm here.
Good on you, mate. You can talk through this one.
Yep, so it was clear there's 2 actions. The guy wrapped him up and then just spun around and dumped him pretty much into the ground. And from the angle I had, it looked like the head hit straight into the ground, but he pretty much bounced up straight away. But you could see he grabs him and then, yeah, spins him around and just dumps him.
Yep. And Stefan nails it. He pulls out the red card. He saw that action. That's unacceptable. And did really well with that one there. So just as we had the Brighton player got 2+1 suspended, the PAC player got the same, which was accepted. So yeah, unnecessary vigorous swing to the ground. 7 another one on the weekend, but an old Iggy's yellow card. Old Iggy's wanted me to review it and see if we wanted to withdraw it, and I looked at it and said no way. So mate, yeah, Steph's nailing the dangerous tackles at the moment, getting it exactly right, and that one was well handled. So the next one we've got, this is an interesting one. Brendan Gore, are you online? So Gorey was in charge of this one. We'll let it play out. All right, so with this one here, there's a Rostrevor player pins the arm and takes the player to ground. Brendan on the day issued a yellow card. Looked at the video, in discussion with me, we both agreed that it should be upgraded to a red card. The match review panel decided that yellow card was best thing for that. And so I guess the learnings from that are, whatever the tribunal or the match review panel decide, don't let it worry you. It doesn't actually matter what the league does. The league is very strong in dealing with reportable instances, as you'd be aware. I came through the sample with a tribunal that used to chuck everything out whenever they could, and I got drilled into me that doesn't, just because that tribunal used to throw cases out all the time doesn't mean that we should just not do something on the day. And so the fact that Brendan wasn't quite sure on the day, pulled a yellow, looked at it on video and thought there was enough for a red. I thought he did exactly the right thing in both instances. And probably Brendan and I have had a discussion since, and we both still think it's probably worthy of being a red card. But just because we think it's worthy of a red card doesn't mean that we have to be upset that the league think otherwise. So yeah, I think that was handled really well, and we want at least a free kick and a yellow paid for that one, where there's not a lot the player with the ball can do to protect themselves in that instance. Any questions or comments on that? All right, next one. Pat Lally, you online?
Yep, Colin.
All right, mate, talk us through this one. I might just make it a bit bigger. Yeah. All right, Pat, give us your rundown.
Yeah, so he grabbed the ball, was pretty much immediately tackled, and that was fine. But then it was that last action of they both went to ground and his head kind of slammed into the ground. Yeah, I paid a yellow initially and then had a look and upgraded to red.
Yeah, so I think yellow was no problem with the yellow, no problem with the free kick. You know, we are mindful of the head hitting the ground. There are going to be times in a game where accidents do happen, and I think this is one of those instances where both players have momentum, they both fall into ground, and it's unfortunate the player's head hits the ground. So a free kick or yellow, no one's going to lose any sleep over. At the end of the day, when Pat put it forward as a red, he was concerned of the potential for injury, but I should agree with the match review panel on this one that it's unfortunate, but not a lot else the player could do when they were tackling. And so a yellow card at most for this one. So that's where it ended up. It ended up being a yellow. Pat, you want to talk through the next one as well? This is your Port District's striking red card.
Yeah, so not super easy to see, but the Port District's guy was being held and Healy was just about to pay a free kick to him, but out of frustration, he's then turned around and kind of had a bit of a swing and he kind of collected him in the chest area. So I had a perfect vision of it, but Healy had no chance of seeing it because there was players in the way.
Yeah. So with this one, what caught Pat's eye was that swinging arm, and he was about 50 metres away, and understandably ran into red card for striking, and totally understand why he did what he did. And if I'd seen that action, I would have done the same thing. This is the beauty of video with a slow-mo and looking at it really closely. The NRP decided that it wasn't so much a strike; it was more a there's a grappling of jumpers, and as he swung his arm around, he's just grabbed hold of the jumper. So in the end, it was downgraded to a yellow, but totally comfortable with what Pat did on the day, because that swinging action in most cases would be a striking action. So that's where that one landed anyway. So we've had some examples here of umpires either giving out a red card on the day or red cards that's being upgraded on video that have been downgraded. So, but that's okay. As I said before, if we act with what we think is right on the day to control a game, and there's no suspension handed out at the end, it's no big deal. It's no big deal.
It was a heated game, Colin. That's kind of why we were definitely on edge to definitely punish that kind of stuff.
Sure, mate. And when you're 50 metres away and you see that swinging arm the way it did, that looks like a strike. And it's only the slow-mo of the video that allows us, allows the MRP to decide what the best course of action is after that. All right, so the rain's starting to pour down here. Next one's a Gay's dangerous tackle. Lockie Peterson, you're not on the line, are you? Lockie's doing year 12, so he's probably off doing some year 12 studies. And actually, I think he was crook on the weekend, so he might not be feeling the best. He has been on the Zooms this year, but Lockie's doing really well as a year 12 student to be umpiring Div 2 footy. And with this one here, he handled this one really well. So there's a tackle where there's just a vigorous act to the ground, a concerning action. He's given a yellow. On the day, he needed the video to, I guess, have a good look at it. He wasn't sure that it was a red card worthy of a red card worthy dangerous tackle, but in looking at the video, he wanted it upgraded. MRP agreed, and there was a 2+1 suspension handed out for that one. Luke Harrington, you online? All right, with this one here, Henley versus Broadview, I think it is. So, see here, there's a Henley player who just bumps late. So an FAD that's played down the field, and the same player then comes in and bumps even a little bit later, and it causes the melee. And I don't think Luke was sure whether there was high contact or not, but it certainly, the second late bump was a concern. He reported for unduly rough play. The video showed that there probably wasn't high contact, which would have certainly ended in a longer suspension. And he ended up getting a 1+1, so 1 game plus 1 suspended. All right, next one, Adam Forster, you're on the Zoom. Maybe Rob McKay, you're online, mate. Still.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I reckon you did this game with Adam, didn't you?
Yep.
Do you want to talk through this incident if you can remember it?
Yeah, so Adam was the player or umpire in play.
Yeah.
And it was a bit like what Pat was saying before. The game was getting right on edge at this stage. Portland were coming back, and there was just at this contest here, and then as he's getting up, so it's straight in for a strike. And Adam did a great job, just really came straight in, sorted it out, and big 24 for Portland was sent on his way. And it really just pulled the game in. And there was a strike as he went down and took him out. I didn't see it. I was just at about just inside centre half forward. But no, it was a really good call.
It was just an unnecessary cheap shot. Not the worst strike you'll ever see, but the elbow did definitely, with a bit of force, put the head into the ground. And so, as you said, Adam took control, got a heated game. With something like that occurs, it sends a message to all the players that that's not acceptable. The red card was given, unduly rough conduct was the charge, and given a prescribed 2-week penalty by the NRP. So yeah, Adam did handle that one very well. All right, now we get to a couple of the big suspensions for the week. Howard Noble, you're online.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, take us through this, mate.
Well, so plays kicked out of the forward line for Eastern Park. Little bit of off play. Oh, there we go. Little bit of off play. It's very quick.
Yeah,
it's very quick. I'm running from the other end. I don't know if you can put it on again, but I'm running from the other side. But there's a bit of a scuffle here. He hangs, the 22 hangs on to Hectorville player and whack.
Yep. So I'm going to go to bat here for you, Howard. That number 1 for Fitzroy, running right in now.
It was like in the clips.
Gets right in your line. There is no chance of you seeing this. Most likely, it's a quick jab, but it's a nasty jab. This is a coward punch that has potential to do serious damage, and like the Hectorville player's not even looking. So that wasn't looked at very favourably at all from the match review panel, and that's why he got the 8 weeks. It was lucky video was there to pick it up, and then we don't go looking for instances on video, and in most cases, it's up to clubs to complain and put a request for an investigation through. But something like this comes across comes to our attention in the office, and we then point it in Howard's direction to have a look at, and Howard couldn't fill in Officials HQ quick enough to get him reported. So the big king hits like this, we just can't ignore. No hassles with Howard not being able to see that. I mean, there's a boundary umpire, the club boundary umpire there that you would have thought might have seen it, but in the end of the day, we can't see everything. Anything you want to add to that, Howard?
I was just going to say, I mean, the game was definitely on edge. Also, I think we gave 3 yellows during the game, but afterwards, although the player doesn't react here, if you let it run a little further, he actually then goes down a bit. So it kind of highlights the intensity of the punch, and yeah, good that we have the video footage. Yeah,
exactly right. So that was an interesting one. Next one, just as interesting. This one received an 8-week ban. There's actually we won't spend any time talking about this. There's an incident before where a Trinity player was offered 2 weeks suspension. That's the one that's being taken to the tribunal this Wednesday night. Bowes, are you on the line? You normally are. No, that's all right. We'll talk for Bowes. Basically, yep. Oh, you are there, mate?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. You can pretty much tell us that it happened behind your back and you didn't say anything.
Basically, that's exactly right. Yeah. I was giving an all clear for a goal and looking down the field at the full back.
Yeah.
And then after a couple of incidents had happened, one of the players came across and said, "Oh, one of our players got punched in the head."
What's number 35 here? Here it is.
Yeah, 35. They said that one of the players punched one of our players in the head. And I said, "Oh, which guy was it?" And I saw him, and he was still on the ground, so he didn't go down or anything. But one of their other players came in and said, "Don't worry, boys." He said, "It'll all be on video. It happened right in front of the camera."
How true. And yeah, we're really lucky that the player ducked here, because if that truly connected, it would have been incredibly nasty. So again, a behind the play hit isn't looked on at all well from the from the league, and that ended up in an 8-week suspension. All right, and the last one we have to look at is a dangerous tackle from a Lodge player. This is the worst dangerous tackle for the weekend, last weekend. And I guess, again, we're lucky we've got video. It's also good that even though the umpire only gave a yellow, so really, I can't stand watching those type of tackles, but and all sorts of stuff that happens here with the players jumping over the players injured. At least in this instance, because we've been focusing on dangerous tackles, the umpire was Lee Baker, decided he wanted to give me a call just to explain that there may be something that might be worth looking at. And I said, let's have a look at the video. And then he contacted me, say, yeah, I think it's a red. And I looked at it and I said, hey, it is most definitely a red. So that player ended up getting a 4-week plus 1 week suspension by the match review panel. So that's all the yellow and red cards that we had on video from last week. I thought it was worth going through just to, I guess, talk through a little bit of the process, highlight what the umpires did well. There's not a lot we did too much wrong. I mean, there'll be some of those that you'd hope that they would be red cards straight away, but at the end of the day, we've got video. It was able to upgrade a couple of those dangerous tackles, and for the behind the play stuff that we just didn't see, there's a process where it can be dealt with. And even if we don't have video and something nasty happens, the clubs can contact the league, use witnesses to take action if something is happens. And so that's important that you know that process. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't take action on the day when we need to, but if something happens behind your back you just don't see, you can let players and clubs know that they can take action during the week. All right, any questions or comments on any of that stuff? I mean, the league has done an amazing job to change the culture and clean up the game. It doesn't mean things don't happen. I've had this theory for a while now that round 1 and the first weekend where we have wet weather, we always have a spike of red cards, and seems to happen every year. And if we have umpires appreciation round, we have less red cards. It's just strange that we have the similar things happen every year. So we will have spikes where we have that, an increased amount of cards, and that's more than usual. But it was good to see last weekend players got the message and they pulled their heads in and played a bit more footy with all this other stuff. But we need to be ready to take action when we need to. We need to understand what we've got to use at our disposal: yellow, red cards, melee rule. If you're a senior umpire, you need to help out a junior umpire in these instances. I don't want you overruling for free kicks other than high tackles. But when something like this happens, we're a reportable instance, and you're the number 2 umpire, if the other umpire hasn't done anything, that's when you do need to jump in and take action. Yeah, if anyone else has got anything to say, feel free to speak up. Otherwise, that might be it for the night.
So, Colin, just back to Pat Lally, just back to my one. I think there's a good learning in that one is that you can still tackle hard. Like, it is okay to tackle a bloke to the ground. And that incident, they both fell on the ground side by side. It's just that one guy kind of hit the ground first and his head hit the ground. So,
yeah,
kind of like that difference between dangerous and not dangerous there's a fine line, but that's kind of an example where it was okay.
Yeah, 100%. So what we're looking at from a dangerous tackle is the lift or the drive with a secondary action, or a swinging action. But if you are both going to ground like the ones where you like the one you had, yeah, there can be accidents happen, I guess when we were talking through that, Pat, my question to you was, is there something else the tackler could have done in that situation? And in hindsight, probably no. The tackler didn't really have much option because they were both going to ground together. But if they do something which is a concern, which they obviously contribute to the player's safety being compromised, that's where it becomes a dangerous tackle. And yep, they are hard. If any doubt, a yellow card isn't going to cause anyone any stress. But yeah, when you are sure that it's a dangerous tackle, that's where we go straight to the red now. All right. Anyone else?
Hey, Colin.
Yeah, mate.
We tried to watch the Dartfish video earlier, but it said that we needed a password to get in.
Okay, righto. I'll take that off the website. You'll be able to watch that apparently when I email out the link.
Okay.
So that I'm told that was the case, that they were going to make it available for viewing if you receive an email. So if that doesn't work, let me know and I'll get the guys to get onto it.
Easy. Cheers, mate.
All right, thanks. Let me know that. All right. Cheers, guys. Enjoy the weekend off coming up. It's after that we start getting on the run to finals, and hopefully we've had our wettest weekend for the year. But yeah, a weekend off won't do anyone harm. If you haven't had COVID yet, can you get it this weekend, please? I'd really like to have everyone on board the week after. All right, good on you guys.
See ya.
We'll see you on Wednesday night.
Cheers, Colin.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.